right decision to not, I never pursued modeling formally, and I moved to New York to work for Essence and chose not to model. I had been invited to go to Paris to model and chose not to do that because I was too uncomfortable at those calls. We have a panel of people who were not as uncomfortable as I. Our panel is quite distinguished, being involved in fashion in many different ways, from modeling to casting to designing. But all of us on this panel have had a relationship with the fashion industry for a long time and in many different ways, and all of us feel passionate about taking care of the young women globally who are coming to be a part of this industry. And as we saw in that very first scene in the movie where all of those girls in Siberia were standing in tiny little bikinis hoping that they could make a dream come true that would also take care of their families. It's a serious business that includes a lot of fantasy but a lot of reality too. What I'd like to do right now is ask each of our panel members to introduce yourself, say who you are, what you do, and why you feel passionate about being on this panel. And I can tell you from talking with this group yesterday, this is a very passionate group. So my job is to make sure that we can contain this passion. We will start, however, with brief introductions, and I'd like to start with Sandy Bass.
Thank you, Harriet. Thank you. And thank everyone for coming. Uh-oh, is my mic on?
No.
You have to hold it close
Yes,
to your mouth.
I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, I need to get over that film, okay, first of all. But my name is Sandy Bass. I've been in the industry a long time. I was a top model in Europe for many, many years. I lived in Paris, Rome, and Tokyo. I worked for a lot of the top designers, and I ended up being an international scout, like unlike Ashley on the film. Nothing bad about her, but I have been an international scout for almost 17 years. I am also a creative director of Cover Girls for Change, and I am a casting director for United Colors of Fashion. I love everything fashion. I think this business is amazing, and any way I can support it with great integrity, that's my mission.
Yes. That's great.
Is this one working?
Yeah, works.
Excellent. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much first for having me here. It's an honor to be in the company of all these people who care about this issue as much as I do. My name is Sarah Ziff, and I am the founder and executive director of the Model Alliance, which is a nonprofit labor group for fashion models in the U.S. I started working in New York at 14 years old as a model, so I've grown up in the industry. I made a documentary called Picture Me, which documents my experiences of the industry, and now I'm an advocate for models.
We'll learn more about her organization in a moment, please.
My name is Rachel Blaze. I'm the girl in Girl Model that says how there is, who is the folk to. You have seen the scene in the car if you just watched the film. I started modeling internationally in 2002. I was 17. I worked for a big magazine, big clients, until, I started being involved with Girl Model officially. Then all my agencies started to drop me, and one by one, my visa being withdrew and all of that. But I mean, I kind of knew that that was going to be happening. I had friends telling me, and as agencies were starting to drop me, I had other agents telling me, stop supporting Girl Model, but especially stop saying that, talking about the ban, which the point at which I bring here is that I don't see why we have children, which is people under 18 years old, working as adult fashion model. That if they want to do modeling, that we can let them do it without traveling, just in their own country, in their own hometown. As for teenage and children stuff, I'm not saying to stop children and teenage modeling, but that we don't have children. Like, what's the rush is actually the main question I have. And the other thing I would like to just say briefly is, I know there are really amazing agents out there. I've had a nice agent. I wouldn't have been in this business for so long if I didn't think there was a good thing in it. at this point I have kind of nothing to lose to speak out completely the truth to me, because I'm not going to work anymore. You know, if anything, something could happen and someone could say like, yeah, I might want to make you work. But I'm not expecting any of that anymore, because I think the message being very clear from agents, not from clients. Clients have been calling me still, but no agent, no work. But even though I know there's amazing agents, there'll always be the girls that either can't get into the agencies that are nice and will still dreaming of being models and end up in really bad situation. We can't protect all the girls, and that's why I see the 18 years old as a protection for all the girls. But yeah,
Thank you.
sorry, that was long.
Hi, I'm Maurice Duran. I'm a New York-based fashion designer, and I have a very unique point of view because I began my career as a young performer, teenage model, and in New York City, and a lot of my friends were models of the 70s that represented this industry. They were going through their own thing at 13, 14 years old, like Lisanne Falk and Bambi Black, who were the top teenage models in the 70s and 80s. I went on to be a teenage Broadway and film actor till I was 22, and I went to work after studying for Gianni Versace, and I began my career. Now, I find myself in the unusual situation of being one of the only fashion designers I know who actually feels a great deal of empathy and sympathy for the kids that come to work for me. In fact, it's one of the biggest comments I get is, I don't meet designers like you, or that understand. And it breaks my heart, because the kids are being treated even more now than they were 30 years ago, like meat. So I'm trying to figure out what changed. I often say it's because I think there's a giant flux of models that have come, especially out of Eastern Europe, which you see there. And I just came back from Central Asia, where that experience in the film happened to me, where they brought me 80 girls dressed in bathing suits and said, which girls are you going to put in your show? And it was one of the most riveting, strange moments of my life, as it was in the film. And I think it's time for change. And the one thing I'll say as I end this is, as a young teenage performer, I was in the film Fame, I was in We're Fighting Back with Ellen Barkin. I did a lot of things before I was 17 years old. There were chaperones, people from the union watching me, tutors if I had to go away. And I don't understand why that still exists for teenage performers in film and on stage, but not for teenage models. There's something very glaringly strange and obvious about that.
And we're going to get into that in detail in a moment, but please.
I'm Maria McDonald. This is working, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was formerly a model in the 80s all the way to the early 90s. Worked in Los Angeles here and in Europe. A lot of us have worked in Europe. I went on to become a co-starring actress in film and also television. And so I kind of have a touch on what you're talking about with the protection of the teenagers, and then also the experience with my peers in the industry. I have now gone on to I'm the founder of Cover Girls for Change. I became an advocate, so I'm connected with Washington, D.C., the Justice Roundtable. We have 50 organizations under us. Got pretty serious, huh? So I wanted to kind of find out, in lining up with what you're saying on how we can actually move forward, just to brief you a little bit on Cover Girls for Change. There was a models reunion in 2009, and it was closed to the public. So I went to the European one, Sandy was there, and so the European model reunion then went on to California, and you guys may have seen where the models were then on Oprah Winfrey, Beverly Johnson, all of those, that particular thing. Then you saw HBO special that was called, I think, The Face. Okay, all of that came out of the model reunions that happened in the Hampton. Okay. So what I decided is a lot of things that we do in the industry are closed to the public. So Cover Girls for Change is about opening it up to the public, and then also to unmute the faces in magazine, to give the models a voice, to become a part of the collective conversation. Because one of the things I like to say is once you have someone's attention, which is fashion tends to do, now what? So it's time for us to join the collective conversation with music, film, and join in on the conversation, but we need to now make our voice heard. So it seems like we're right on point. That's Cover Girls for Change. We're a movement, not a moment you cherish and tuck away like a magazine. We're community, we're consciousness, and we're contribution. So unmuting the faces and giving models voices and the places at the collective table.
Thank you, Louise.
Hi everyone, it's an honor to be on this panel today. I actually wasn't part of it the other day, but I'm representing Corinne Nicholas. I'm Sandra Sperger from Trump Model Management. It's an honor to be here, and especially as an agent for the last 20 years. Between London and New York, I've traveled the world, and I've been involved with young girls for a long, long time. The movie was incredibly emotional and disturbing, and it is specific to two particular agencies. Obviously, between Tigran and Switch, which we can touch into later on, but as an agent, I do believe that not only we have a responsibility as agents, at the same time, so do parents, at the same time, so do other agents and scouts. So we're all involved in this collectively, and it's important to always maintain the integrity and the nurturing and the protectiveness of all of these young girls. I'm a parent myself, and it's important that we know that from a very young age, their crucial stages are really between the age of 15 to 22, 23, 25 as young women. And our words count, so it's important to really take that extra initiative with these young girls to really be there for them. So we're very, very happy to be representing today from Trump Models.
Sandra.